all party, but at 2-9, the Ticats won't be offering any gestures of friendship to their double blue rivals. As we welcome you inside the booth, Marshall Ferguson alongside Wayne Ford. Matthew Shinetti, of course, at field level for us here throughout the afternoon. If there's one guy that would love to get a victory, maybe more than anybody else in this entire place, 5 years since Bo Levi Mitchell, Dwayne, has been on the field in a Labor Day Classic.
Yeah, and certainly we'll talk more about it as this game unfolds, but as you said, it's been a while, but Bo has historically been successful on Labor Day and looking for a kickstart to this Ticat season, certainly his season in particular in terms of getting them back in that win column. Now, as for Chad Kelly, you heard the panel talk about it earlier. For him, it's just about finding his rhythm a little bit and navigating the unfriendly confines of Tim Hortons Field and these Hamilton Tiger Cats faithful.
Ryan Dinwiddie, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, tries to fire up his squad. He's had a lot of success, whether it be win-loss or not, in this matchup, and of course in his time with the Calgary Stampeders as well. And Scott Milanovic on the other sideline here, he said it was 300 degrees in the first Labor Day game at Tim Hortons Field. 10 years later, here we are with, by the way, Bakari Grant, the alumni of distinction here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats today, who scored the first touchdown back at this place a decade ago. So maybe some good vibes for the Tiger Cats as they take on the Argonauts, as it was Toronto going with heads on the coin toss. Hamilton won as it came up tails. Hamilton defers, and Toronto will receive the football, heading right toward the Stipley bar here, but not until Mark Leggio has to reset it on top of the tee. You ready for this one, partner?
Ready to roll. It's Labor Day.
Great environment. It's been a huge build-up for the last couple of hours, as we've seen throughout this weekend, with an exceptional event out there in Victoria with Touchdown Pacific. Of course, Calgary Edmonton coming up. An amazing game last night between the Bombers and the Riders. Expect nothing less. And now it's the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts' turn to show down Labor Day style in Hamilton. As the opening kickoff is returned, Janarian Grant across the 30, fired up and already out to the 35 as he looks dangerous as ever. As out comes Chad Kelly onto the field for the first time.
Yeah, second start of the season for Chad Kelly after serving that 9-game suspension to start the season. Mixed reviews on his opening start. You see the numbers, over 300 yards in that ball game, but Kelly finds himself still looking for his first touchdown pass of 2024.
Interesting that he was 4 of 11, but the fact he had 11 deep shots in that game in his first start, he was out here early ripping it down the field. He will never be shy to take some home run chances down the field as Toronto begins from their own 35-yard line with an extra offensive lineman in the ball game. No go. Fake run and over the top. Immediately Mackay Polk is the intended receiver as the starting offense for the Argos goes 0 for 1 to open things up here.
Yeah, I love the play design. We'll get back to that later. Chad Kelly mentioning he's also getting used to a new center, as Peter Nicastro was injured a lot last year, but the University of Calgary product, a fixture in that spot this season. And we just saw the targeted receiver, Mackay Polk. He was kind of a bubble guy at the start of the year, relied on injuries to get on the roster. He's made himself indispensable, the Argos' second leading receiver at this point.
A little miscommunication. Expect that with Kelly getting up to speed, coming off that 9-game suspension. And now he's got 2nd and 10. 4-man rush from the Tiger Cats. Kelly tries to fit it into a tight window, and it's intercepted. And immediately the challenge flag comes out because there was no penalty flag. And Ryan Dinwiddie didn't even hesitate, saw it with his own eyes, and he'll look for defensive pass interference against Richard Leonard to negate the interception.
And there is definitely a bump. He bumped the receiver off the spot.
Dinwiddie already fired up on this one, 2 plays into the ball game for his offense.
You see it, it's almost as if the receiver is posted up in front of him. There you saw the push. Moving Tavares Daniels out of the way so he could go get that ball himself.
Toronto is challenging that there should have been defensive pass interference on the play. The play will be reviewed.
Richard Leonard, by the way, celebrating his 33rd birthday today, but I don't think he's going to get the gift here.
Not yet, but Hamilton's defense has had success against Chad Kelly in their limited opportunities against him in terms of trying to force turnover-worthy plays. Kelly offers them up more to the black and gold than he does any of the other 7 teams that he plays against in the CFL.
Take another peek here. And
it's a bump, but the question is it enough, or would he have been able to get the interception regardless, right?
I mean, you have to call what the contact was, and I will say from that angle, Leonard doesn't appear to extend his arms.
Was it enough to go through the body? We find out as our referee Ben Major has the call from command.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. It is an interception. Toronto loses their challenge and a team timeout.
Now, we're going to take one more look at this, and the thing I'm going to say is focus on Leonard, not on what happens to Daniels. Right? So ignore the fact that Daniels falls down and look at what Leonard actually did. And I will admit, my initial reaction was seeing Davaris Daniels kind of fall out of the way and Richard Leonard take his spot, but I don't think there was actually a shove there.
Well, Chad Kelly didn't do himself any favors leaving that ball inside as well, which made it one of the easier interceptions that Richard Leonard has had in his CFL career. So now Bo Levi Mitchell out for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and he'll look to Shamar Bridges, the leading target getter in the Canadian Football League. 92 coming in, now 93 is Bo Levi Mitchell. 5 years, as we said off the top. Hard to imagine since he's been in a Labor Day Classic.
And a big one for the Hamilton Ticats, obviously, at I think beyond critical point in their season, quite frankly, if they want to get back in this playoff race. I think everybody at this point who's been following the Canadian Football League knows the story. Good numbers, individual numbers for Bo, but they're not winning games, and the feeling is there have been too many turnovers.
Feel the tension right now as these quarterbacks loaded up over the top, looking for the home run. Tim White, touchdown, Tiger Cats. The quarterbacks begin 0 for 3, and then Tim White right down the seam, just like he's done in Labor Days years gone by.
Bo has not lost the ability to throw the home run ball, that's for sure. Terrific shot, watch right down the middle of the field on this one for Tim White, heading for the post. He's in behind coverage. Perfectly placed pass. Tim White has touchdown number 5 on the season.
Tim White, season high 134 yards last week against Winnipeg, rounding into form and tagging a Labor Day touchdown on as well. A little skinny post in between coverage. Tim White using the wheels that have allowed him to be an all-star in the Canadian Football League the last couple of years. Sweeter than honey to kick things off for Bo Levi Mitchell in his return to Labor Day.
Tim White, the man of the moment, coming up with that big touchdown. You're going to see him head for the post, and the DBs are just slow to react to this one. Halfback is playing outside leverage. The safety gets hung up on one of the crossing routes before he comes off. That allows Tim White, one of the quickest guys on the field, to get in behind coverage. Bo Levi Mitchell always looking for the home run ball. Spots him and drops it in there beautifully.
And White now tied for the Hamilton team lead with 5 touchdowns on the season. There's the overhand catch on the kickoff, always an adventure. And Deontay McMahon trying to make as many people miss as he can, but a massive collision on specials as we see Chad Kelly come out. And here's the rest of that Argonauts double blue starting offense.
Defensively for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, a number of former Argonauts now in black and gold, looking for big things from Dwayne Hendricks. He's had a quiet first half to this 2024 season after a 6-sack season last year. Watch for the rookie Ryan Baker as part of this linebacker rotation under Chris Jones. 8 tackles for Baker last week in Winnipeg, and we mentioned Richard Leonard already with an interception to celebrate his birthday.
Chad Kelly, after throwing the opening drive interception, they get him an easy completion here on a little tunnel screen. The defense rallies their way towards, looks like that is Davaris Daniels getting the target from Kelly, who's still trying to find the rhythm here, Dwayne.
Yeah, and certainly wasn't easing into it on that opening series, looking vertical a couple of times. And obviously we know, I mean, this is part of what Chad Kelly brings to the table an element that we didn't see a lot in the first 9 games of the Toronto Argonauts season, was whether it was an ability or desire to push the ball down the field, but they become more aggressive with Kelly under center.
Highest graded quarterback off play action in the CFL last season as he goes with the fake in the running game here and then slings it out to Deonta McMahon, who was just on the kickoff return. There's a flag down as well. It looks like it's going against the Tiger Cats as McMahon's slow to his feet. One of 3 running backs dressed here for Toronto this afternoon.
McMahon's going to wait on the field for assistance here. Basically, you can see McMahon was going to come off, and I think his teammates are telling him go down, which basically gives coaches on the bench a chance to make substitutions on special teams, etc., check their depth charts and know all the places, all the adjustments they may have to make.
Illegal contact on the receiver. Hamilton, number 22. The penalties declined because the gain was greater. It's going to be first down for Toronto.
It goes against Will Sunderland, but they won't carry the yardage as we take a look at Chad Kelly in his performance last week in his return to the Canadian Football League after that 9-game suspension.
Not necessarily eye-popping numbers, maybe even could argue a little bit misleading with that 300-yard game, and one that had its ups and downs, an uneven performance, but certainly some big plays for Kelly, and we know from last year the chemistry between he and DeMonte Coxie.
See the 2 quarterbacks in today's game, but certainly Bo Levi Mitchell up there with some of the all-time legends like Jackie Parker after 18 career starts, essentially a full season spread out over a couple of years here for Chad Kelly. He stands in the huddle that features a variety of different big bodies. Looks like going with Ryan Hunter as the former goaltender. We spoke to him earlier this season. Going to get used as a bit of a swingman on the offensive line, moving around from place to place. We'll see where they line him up here. Kelly hands it off inside and right in the hole. That's Kadeem Carey getting stacked up for a minimal gain on first down.
Nick Usher starting to find his way right side of your screen from his defensive end position. Gets moved inside. Playing as a linebacker on that one, coming up big.
And Chris Jones mixing and matching approaches. Stepping in as the defensive coordinator here. He'll go with a 3-man rush on Kelly this time as Kelly looks down the field, rips this one incomplete. Coverage on the play, Jamal Peters right there, the former Argonaut, big splashy signing in free agency by the Black and Gold.
And we look forward to seeing Peters against his old team. I know he certainly felt earlier in the season, the first matchup between these two, like he had something to prove.
That first matchup back in week 7, 27-24, Hamilton won, and Jamal Peters was very clearly excited to be playing against his old team. You always say that, players always say it. You could see it on Jamal Peters that evening right here in Hamilton as the Ticats look to close out the season series with a win, and Haggerty, who's been crushing the football all year, almost has that one blocked. It rolls down, and Carthel Flowers Lloyd decides he's going to jump on it right there. As Bo Levi Mitchell back in the saddle here. No longer in Calgary, but back on Labor Day. 13-2 career against the Toronto Argonauts. There's Bo Levi Mitchell, lost against the Bombers last week after a game-winning touchdown for the Winnipeg team with 19 seconds left in the ball game. But Bo trying to fire things up back into the lineup. Only 50% completion and the season low for net yardage offensively for the Tiger Cats.
Well, if you're looking for positives, the big positive was that Tim White supplied 165 yards of offense on 8 touches. They just couldn't get anyone else going last week. Tim White and Bo Levi Mitchell at least picking up where they left off a week ago. They just need the rest of the crew to get on page.
Hard count here. Coulter Woodmansey decided to jump out of his stance and try and force the officials to call penalty against the Argonauts defensive line.
Offside, Toronto, number 99. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
Ralph Hawley jumping inside the 1-yard buffer there. They shift the defensive line, and then Ollie trying to work his way around, jumps. I think Bo thought that one was going to go against Woodmansey for doing it too slow, but they do pick up a couple of yards. So 1st and 5, playbook wide open here for the Tiger Cats. Mitchell steps up in the pocket, now looks to use the legs a little bit. Bo going for a jog, doesn't do much of this, and then takes a seat at the 43-yard line as the Hamilton Tiger Cats starting offense led by that man, the scrambling Bo Levi Mitchell.
And a nice decision there from Bo to pick up a 1st down. Another adjustment to the offensive line. The revolving offensive tackle door. Jordan Murray is back in at right tackle, 6'9" veteran. We mentioned Tim White, those 165 yards from scrimmage a week ago. They look to try and get him on track.
Fake an inside run, now pitch it on the reverse. Brendan O'Leary, orange. It's a carry here early on as we take a look at the Argonauts starting defense trying to shut down Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, defensively for this team, of course, Jake Serezna has been a great acquisition for them on the inside, one of the best interior pass rushers in the league. Fraser Sopik signed from Hamilton as a free agent, 2nd on the Toronto Argonauts in defensive plays this season. Deshaun Amos has demonstrated a real nose for the football this season. 4 picks and a couple of fumble recoveries to his name so far.
Sopik winning a Vanier Cup right here at Tim Hortons Field in his college career as Mitchell looks underneath. Stephen Dunbar Jr. gets away from one man, now rolls his way towards the left sideline. Wrapped up, but not until another. Hamilton Tiger Cats 1st down, converting on 2nd and 9.
Nice effort after the catch. You're going to see Dunbar coming from the outside far right. And this, so working into the boundary, crossing route underneath. Picks up a nice block there from Shamar Bridges to help him pick up the 1st down.
Mitchell stares down the Toronto defense here as they'll look to screen it out. Greg Bell gets a touch inside the 20, on his feet inside the 5. Thought he was going to stay vertical and go for 6 immediately, but Greg Bell getting involved in the passing game, something we've seen so much from James Butler throughout this year in Hamilton's backfield.
Yeah, you're going to see Bell start from the backfield here, but watch the work of the right side of the offensive line, getting out in front. Jordan Murray has the kick out. He along with the center, David Beard, creating a lane for Greg Bell to set up the Tiger Cats on the doorstep.
And we have Talia Tagovailoa into the game right now at quarterback. Well, Mitchell to the sideline. Tagovailoa listed as the 3rd stringer. Takes the inside run and goes for a walk to the end zone. Touchdown Tiger Cats as they extend the Labor Day advantage. And it's Tagovailoa to the end zone.
And how's that for your first touch in the Canadian Football League? Former University of Maryland star. Pretty much walked that one in. Little change. We've seen Ante Litre so often as the short yardage quarterback for Hamilton this season. They fake to him in the backfield. Tagovailoa strolls in around the corner.
6 plays, 62 yards in under 3 minutes for a Hamilton offense looking to find their way and get some victory as well. Trying to take the season series here today, having themselves a 14-0 advantage with 7:14 remaining in the 1st quarter. Tagovailoa to the end zone here in Hamilton. Drive right here, Dwayne, that led to another major in a 14-0 lead.
Yeah, well scripted and well executed by the guys on the field. Bo Levi Mitchell picking and choosing his spots and distributing that football. We talked about the screen to Greg Bell. And a short yardage play that got the Argos to bite hard. It's the Ticats out to a 2-touchdown lead here.
How about Bo Levi Mitchell running down to go celebrate with Talia Tagovailoa in his first CFL major. The Argonauts get possession back inside their own 5-yard line. Won't get out beyond the 20. Tough field position to begin. Lots of work to do for Chad Kelly and the Argos offense.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see an Argos offense that sort of came out of the gate looking for the big play. Tons of time left in this football game, 52 minutes still to go. But you wonder if there will be a little bit of impatience for the Argos offense as a whole, but for Chad Kelly in particular, who may feel like he needs to prove a little something in this one.
Well, it's interesting because Kelly's trying not to force, but he's trying to do as much as he possibly can. He's trying to get back into the rhythm. He's trying to reacquaint himself with some new teammates, some old teammates. A lot of variables at play as he'll hand it off here on 1st and 10. And the Tiger Cats run defense right there once again.
Stacking it up there, as you see there. Call him the senior defensive assistant. He's the defensive coordinator, Chris Jones.
Yeah, what a title for a guy that's won Grey Cups and been a head coach and a defensive coordinator, and it's whatever you want to call him. He's the one calling the shots right now on this defense that is shutting down Chad Kelly in his return to Tim Hortons Field thus far. Kelly, he's dropped lots of time, now wants to use the wheels. Goes across the 30, big collision as sliding in Stavros Katsatonis right at the end of the play. And that'll be Kyle Wilson slow up onto his feet.
Chad Kelly slides underneath this one. Ends up being Katsatonis coming downhill, hitting Kyle Wilson right in the face.
Brandon Barlow, former Argonaut, battling there with the left tackle Isaiah Cage, and Katsatonis got all of Kyle Wilson at the end of that play. A stretch run this time for the Argonauts, cutting it back as Kadeem Carey, bouncing off tacklers, refuses to go down, and out to the 52-yard line as Kadeem Carey on pace for his best season ever in the Canadian Football League right now, aiming a little over 1,100 yards.
And this run looked good from the start, as you mentioned, Mark. The stretch, getting that defense running towards the sideline, opens up that hole for Kadeem Carey. He darts it north-south, breaks a couple of tackles to move the sticks.
Kyle Wilson being removed from the game right now by the injury spotter. As they've got some substitutions with Ray Wilborn, who was a late addition to the roster for this football game, checking in. He officially is the starter at that weak side linebacker spot. Steps onto the field, communicates with middle linebacker Ryan Baker, and Chad Kelly wants to go quick with a different body in the lineup. Finds the soft spot that time, hooks it up, and it's a first down for Toronto.
Kyle Wilson took over this season from Simone Lawrence at that weak side linebacker spot. Done a tremendous job leading tackler for this team. Hopefully he's all right.
Argonauts going quickly, now trying to take another home run shot. Incomplete over the top of Davaris Daniels. And it falls mercifully for number 12 to the ground, as you can see the clear and obvious frustration on Kelly not being able to connect down the field with Jonathan Moxey right there in coverage.
Moxey had been starting in recent weeks as the nickel linebacker. He's moved to the back end right now. We expect to see a lot of different permutations and combinations from the Tiger Cats in terms of their defensive personnel.
Expect nothing less with Chris Jones at the helm, as this time Daniel Adeboboye gets the carry. Mixing and matching from Kadeem Carey. Deonta McMahon banged up earlier on in this first quarter, as they'll get close and send in the heavies here on 3rd and 2. Actually, Liram Hairolahu coming off the sideline there. Field goal unit is out. The former Tiger Cats kicker here in double blue once again with the walk-off rouge, the much discussed walk-off missed field goal rouge.
All I heard is walk-off.
They won the game. That's all that matters for Ryan Dinwiddie and his club. He'd love to knock this one down. From deep, it's good. Liram Hairolahu, one of the best in the CFL in his career, on a perfect day for a Labor Day Classic here in Hamilton. Matthew Shinetti for the first time here this afternoon.
Today, Marshall, is Chad Kelly against Bo Levi Mitchell. And after everything that Bo Levi Mitchell's had to deal with all of the attention, scrutiny on his play and his stats, he spoke to me this week and he was quite happy. Listen, maybe it's unfair that quarterbacks are measured against other quarterbacks in games. They never play against each other. But Bo Levi Mitchell said he's excited this week because he gets a chance to match wits with Chad Kelly. He remembers those times against Mike Riley. Though Bo Levi Mitchell is 6-0 in Labor Days, he said having to go against Mike Riley meant he always had to up his game. It's the reason why this week in his notebook he wrote, "I'm not going to let this moment of adversity define myself as a person or my career in general, but how I react to this moment. Forget the playoffs. Today is Labor Day. Just win."
And right on cue, Tim White will walk it in. Bo Levi on fire.
He really does love Labor Day.
6-0 in his career on Labor Day. Hasn't played in the game for 5 years, and in the first quarter, it is shot after shot after shot down the field for Bo Levi. This one goes to Tim White.
Well, can we talk about not just some of these throws from Bo Levi Mitchell, who's channeling his MOP days in Calgary, but how about the last 5 quarters from Tim White?
Early in the season, there's so much confusion about why can't Bo Levi get on the same page as Tim White? Why can't they hit these home runs and all the rest? Well, whether it's the offense coming together, the scripting working, understanding what they're getting defensively, whatever it is, 19-12 is worth 6 every time right now in this first quarter on Labor Day.
Well, terrific start here. Tim White, as usual, working out of the slot. You're going to see this start off as an out and then an up. Almost like a deep wheel route, basically, and he just gets the halfback Amos starting to chase towards the sidelines when he turns it vertical. The defender is unable to adjust. Bo Levi Mitchell recognizes it immediately, and again, on the money on the deep ball for another home run.
You're not wrong saying turning the clock back on that arm. The shot we have in behind Bo Levi throwing that one, staring it down, hit the back of his drop, and as confident as ever as Tim White, little flick over the shoulder, and Mitchell goes back to a celebration we saw so many times in Calgary red and white on Labor Day.
Tremendous start for Bo Levi Mitchell, Tim White, and the rest of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You know, part of the formula that has been talked about for this team, obviously concern about turnovers on offense because they weren't creating turnovers on defense. Well, last week they created them on D and weren't able to capitalize. Here, a different story.
Darian Grant, 4 return touchdowns on the season. Gets himself into the mix on that kickoff return as Tim White. Glow of celebration as these two great rivals go head-to-head once again. The 53rd time with Hamilton holding a substantial advantage. And by the way, from the top of Tim Hortons Field, it's so clear and beautiful in Hamilton today. I can actually see BMO Field. I can see the road team stadium.
Very fitting.
From the top of Tim Hortons Field today. How about that? Chad Kelly down by 18 here early on. Flips this one over the top as Demonte Coxie now goes across the 55 before he's brought down. That'll go for about 20 yards. Kelly, little flick of the wrist in behind the defense.
Yeah, it was sort of like windows sliding in opposite directions here, as you're going to see Kelly go to his left as Coxie from the left side of the field is working towards the middle. Just gets into that hole in behind the linebackers. Nice touch on that ball.
Stavros Katsikonis on that play. He's at free safety right now as they'll open things up. It's Kevin Mittal, first-round draft pick out of Laval, making the grab, settling down in between the zones, and a good chunk for the rookie.
Yeah, Mittal opened the season on the injured list, but I think it's not just folks in Argo land, but many of us, particularly we fellow draft junkies around the CFL, excited to see what this young man can do. Former Heck Crichton Trophy winner during his time at Laval, started his career at Syracuse. Syracuse recruited very well up in Canada when you look at some of the Canadian players that they got down there. Vital, Jeffrey Canton-Arcou included in that, Ben LaBrosse.
Now Vital right down the seam. He'll hold on to it. Katsantonis couldn't get there in time. And for this young man to step up in this moment, all that much more important because Tommy Neild and Dejean Brissett both on the 6-game injured list right now. Talented Canadian receivers themselves.
You see Vital bottom of your screen coming in motion here before he hits this one down the seam. Yeah, big rivalry, Laval, Montreal. No big deal.
Kelly with a hard count here. Tries to get a look at the Tiger Cats defense. Now looks out to the left-hand side. Coxie makes the grab. And Nick Usher playing a lot of linebacker, a lot of standing up for Nick Usher here today against the Argonauts defense. He flies out from that stand-up position and finishes off the tackle.
A good response on this drive so far from the Toronto Argonauts.
Extra linebackers coming into the ballgame. Dwayne Hendricks, former Argo himself, off to the sideline. Lieutenant Ray Wilborn and Carthel Flowers Lloyd, the special teams dynamo. As the last play, barring penalty of the first quarter, has Chad Kelly on a quarterback draw and slides right into the back of his offensive lineman. There was no fumble, but that was Sanchez-esque.
I was just thinking, at least it wasn't Mark Sanchez.
So Kelly with a bit of a humbling first quarter here at Tim Hortons Field. It ends that way, a little sour. Hamilton couldn't be sweeter. 21-3 as the party is on, but the Argonauts threatening as we get set to continue. Quarter number 2 of the Labor Day Classic coming up next. For the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the real story so far in this one. 166, and Tim White with a pair of touchdowns. 127 yards already for Tim White.
Yeah, approaching 300 yards in his last 5 quarters. They do need to get the rest of the offense going, but no, fact is, they've looked pretty good today. Greg Bell chipping in, had a big play on the screen. Stephen Dunbar as well. So building from where they left off last week, it would seem, in Winnipeg.
Chad Kelly on that last play before we went to quarter time. Couldn't figure out which way he wanted to go around Peter Nicastro and lost his edge, slid in, but the offense, it stays on the field here to begin quarter number 2. Ryan Dinwiddie knows he's got to get into the end zone. Score zone reps for Chad Kelly in real time on Labor Day. 3rd and 6. Are they just going to freeze it? And the Tiger Cats defense will get the Labor Day crowd going as Kelly walks all the way back to the bench.
Time count violation. Toronto, number 12. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
The Argos with nothing to lose, obviously.
Never a bad idea, but
Yeah.
you got to say in a rivalry environment like this, standing there and having to walk back to the bench while the crowd screams at you, not a great feeling for the Argonauts offense. Is Lear Mairolahu, 101 already. Tried to knock this one down from 23 yards away. And smooth as ever. As Tim Hortons Field 10 years ago, of course, this place hosted the first Labor Day Classic on this location at this specific stadium. Of course, so many memories from Ivor Wynn, as we showed you earlier. But what are your memories of this one, Dwayne?
I think I lost about 30 pounds that day because you may recall, Marshall, the broadcast booth wasn't ready yet. And we were working from under a kind of a makeshift tarp, basically under the stands. I think it was, temperature was measured at about 1,000 degrees.
Just taking you back to your OUA days, calling games on underneath tarps, hanging out. Yeah, it was Chris Berman was in attendance that day with the late John Saunders as well. There's tons of great memories here at Tim Hortons Field, and the Tiger Cats trying to create some new ones as Greg Bell gets a touch that time on a little underneath flip. Go for a gain of a couple as John Jones makes the play.
Yeah, Jones continuing to start at middle linebacker for the Argonauts in the absence of the injured Winton McManus. Saw Winton here before the game working out, inching closer to his return, but very fortunate to have the versatility of Jonathan Jones in that linebacking corps.
Very different feeling defense here for Toronto without Winton McManus on the field. He does so much for them, and Jones doing everything he can to try and replace it if that's possible. Bo Levi Mitchell against a four-man rush finds the open Greg Bell, who just tries to win the race to the first down marker, and he will convert.
You heard Matt Dunnigan talk before this game about the importance of getting Greg Bell involved, working from the backfield, just going to shoot out to the flat. Little bit of a rub in front of him that bought him a little extra time. Yeah.
James Butler
Not a pick, just a rub.
out with Greg Bell in the lineup here. Butler on the season, 37 catches and 142 yards after contact. Only Walter Fletcher more productive as a running back in the passing game in the CFL this year. And now they'll screen it out to Stephen Dunbar, try to get him going in the screen game, as it'll be a gain of 7 or 8 on the play. We look back at Greg Bell and his action for the Tiger Cats in that backfield on the road in Winnipeg.
Yeah, and they had a little bit of a tough time really getting that run game going. You know, as we mentioned, Tim White had a huge game. The rest of the offense kind of struggled in that one as Bell was held under 3.5 yards a carry on the ground.
Empty it out for Mitchell here. Looks to his right, comes back left, finds the open man. Who else? Tim White with another grab, moves the chains. And Hamilton's offense in total rhythm all of a sudden. Here sitting at 2-9 on the season.
Yeah, it's interesting to see things click for the Tiger Cats the way they have so far in this week's game. I had a chat down on the sidelines before the game with Simone Lawrence, and we talked a little bit about the team, and his feeling was you're going to see their best today, because if they can't bring it on Labor Day, when's it going to happen? And the Cats have delivered so far.
8 straight completions for Bo Levi Mitchell after beginning 0 of 1 at the start of the game. Of course, that second pass attempt was a touchdown to Tim White, and it's been all downhill for the Tiger Cats offense since then. As it looks like Greg Bell is a little slow onto his feet as David Beard and Brandon Revenberg asked him to take a second and check things out.
Good to see him able to not just get off under his own power, but a little bit of a jog. Take a look at the end of this play to see if we can tell just what happened to running back Greg Bell.
A little tweak running into the back of David Beard.
Yeah, David Beard's butt to the side of his head. And rocked him a little bit.
So Greg Bell goes to the sideline. Litre is the listed backup running back, but he's a little bit of everything in this offense. As you see, 34 right there, who will line up alongside Bo Levi Mitchell. 4 receivers for now to the right of Bo. Pressure on. Mitchell gets it away underneath. Complete. Stephen Dunbar Jr. sitting down in between the zones, and another second down conversion for the Tiger Cats.
Dunbar Jr., you see him switching spots in that alignment motion with Brendan O'Leary Orange. Again, another little rub there as you saw Keandre Smith heading on the out as Dunbar works inside. That delays the defender just enough to buy room for that completion.
Go to the line of scrimmage here. Mitchell operates from the 23-yard line. Takes the run, looks to the isolated route, and it's incomplete. Great coverage that time. Benji Franklin on Shamar Bridges. What a great matchup that was.
A couple of great young guys in the Canadian Football League. You're going to see Bridges Push up, break towards the middle. He's trying to get inside position there, but nice job by Benji Franklin coming downhill to get a hand in on that one.
Bridges telling us this week he just loves being in the Canadian Football League. He's so thankful for the journey that he's gone through to get to this point. Taught him a lot of gratitude and could not be happier than to be here in the CFL, having success and leading the league in targets and catches as well. As Mitchell, the deep drop, shuffles around in the pocket. Now down goes Bo. And Ralph Hawley into the Tiger Cats backfield, bringing down Hamilton's starting quarterback as these two teams continue to go shot for shot with sacks this season.
Yeah, Hawley working from his defensive tackle position. Showing some quickness, working on the twist there, loop into the inside.
Jake Serezna ever so close as he's been so many times in the Calgary-Edmonton matchup as well. But Ralph Hawley, the one that gets there, maybe makes up for the offside penalty that 99 took in the first quarter of this ball game, as Mark Leggio, after the sack, will try to knock it down from 37 yards away. And with a swirling wind at Tim Hortons Field, as there's been for so many Labor Day Classics, it's good. Hamilton tags on 3 more, 24-6, the Ticats lead. Grabs already in this Labor Day Classic, and his work against the Saskatchewan Roughriders last week with Chad Kelly back in the lot. They got on the same page. He's excited to be going head-to-head against an ex-teammate here in Labor Day. Let's go down to Matthew Chinetti with more.
Jamal Peters is excited, and DeMonte Coxie is ready. The Argos might be down 18, but as you saw in that highlight pack, DeMonte Coxie can eat into a league really quickly with the amount of yards he gets on those big catches. We spoke last year, I did in a hit, just about the way that Coxie kind of lulls his defender across from him with the way he relaxed his hands. But at high school in Louisiana, he used to practice trying to catch the football over the crossbar and really has honed his skills over the last few years. And when I asked Jamal Peters this week how much he's looking forward to going up against Coxie, knowing the circus-like catches that he makes in practice, Peters just said of every matchup, that's the one I'm looking forward to. And I asked Coxie this week just about getting ready for a game like this. He goes, I don't care. I don't care who the defender is across from me. I don't care if guys are whacking my arms. Once that ball's in the air, the only thing I have is get to the ball, guys.
Yeah, I would love to see those two go try to high point of football against each other at some point here today. Peters and DeMonte Coxie, as David Unger made the grab on that last play, had a 2021 touchdown for Hamilton in this matchup. Drafted by the Tiger Cats. He gets on the stat sheet on a beautiful September Monday afternoon. As the handoff inside goes for a gain of 6 yards on the 2nd and 4.
Yeah, good to see Kyle Wilson back in the Tiger Cat lineup after being removed by the injury spotters after being the victim of some friendly fire from the hard-hitting Stavros Katsantonis.
A lot of movement. You called it early, Dwayne, on the back end of this Hamilton Tiger Cats defense. Moxie, Katsantonis, all playing in different spots, trying to confuse Chad Kelly. As Kelly can't find an open receiver, steps forward in the pocket. Now he'll go right down the middle of the field, and a massive collision on Kelly's right side and right on cue. Looks like that was Jamal Peters dropping the shoulder.
Yeah, Jamal Peters. Never shy to deliver a little bit of contact. Burning in from his corner position as soon as he saw Kelly taking off with that one.
You can see the eyes light up on Jamal Peters as he recognized sitting in zone, nobody for him to cover. All right, Chad's going to go for a little jaunt. I think I'll go join him.
I think I'll end that jaunt. Nonetheless, a first down for the Argos. 1st and 10. Inside handoff once again, Kadeem Carey. And the Argonauts trying to churn with the running game a little bit here in the 2nd quarter, get back into this football game. But this is the running game that I haven't seen a lot of from Toronto quarterbacks since Chad Kelly was out suspended. Yeah, just a good decision here from Kelly. Again, we talked about the concern of him maybe feeling impatient, wanting to force some plays. That's frankly a positive sign for him to pull that one down, run with it, just take what you can get, keep the drive alive instead of trying to force a deep ball off the scramble.
And did ask him this week, okay, you're going up against a Chris Jones defense that will throw chaos at you. You're going up against the Hamilton crowd. How do you handle this? He said, I played in a lot of places. I've been in a lot of football games, a lot of really difficult situations. So he's trying to get himself going as Brandon Calver is down for the Toronto Argonauts, and the Argos training staff will take a look at him. We'll step aside and come back. 24-6 Hamilton leads.
University highlight reel on the big screen here.
Celebrating this great football back coast to coast. University action underway in U Sports. A great Labor Day Classic going here in Hamilton as the Argonauts on 2nd and 4 try to go right in between the guards. It feels like they're really starting to lean on Ryan Hunter, Peter Nicastro, and Anthony Vandell, the young right guard.
Vandell, late round draft pick, an 8th rounder in 2023. Came back to the Argos this season, came back to camp, getting an opportunity to start here now.
3rd and 1, Toronto wants to go, and whistles blow this dead as Kelly wanted to go as fast as he possibly could. And Ben Major saying, Chad, we had to spot the football.
Sorry, I've been away. Is that what he's telling him?
Well, you got to whistle it in, reset the play clock. Well, if I'm Kelly, I'm probably excited that that snap never happened, considering where Nick Usher ended up.
The way things unfolded, yeah. Nick Usher beating Kadeem Carey in the backfield.
See what they run here. Go back at it on 3rd and 1, or will they freeze again like they did a drive earlier? Now flags come up.
Time count violation. Toronto number 12. The 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Liram Hajrullahu comes off the sideline. Ryan Dinwiddie is out at the Tiger Cats 50-yard line, asking to have a discussion with one of the officials, perhaps about timing or reset of the play clock. I don't often see this.
Dinwiddie has wandered down near the Ticat bench.
He's in front of the Tiger Cats bench. That's not on the edges of the box on the same sideline here. He's all the way down at the 40 and now makes his way back. Hajrullahu, 47-23. Now we'll try to tag on another 3 points, but no majors thus far for Chad Kelly and the Toronto Argonauts offense. Hajrullahu, a little bump after he knocks that one through. John Haggerty on the hold, and it's all triples so far for the Argos offense. 24-9. Hamilton continues to lead on Labor Day. Again, another fantastic job by everyone involved to support those in need. Is the next coming up in Toronto, middle of October. Make sure you check the date if you're going in attendance to BMO Field. To see the Argonauts play, make sure you bring some items and get your shot with, what's that thing? That's the Grey Cup, of course. Purelator Tackle Hunger. Congratulations to all involved in another massive day for that program here in Hamilton as the sun beats down.
And now, knowing what a great job the Ticat fans have done with Purelator Tackle Hunger today, you got to think the Argo fans are going to answer the bell. Right? They're not going to let Hamilton beat them.
There's no choice. There's no choice. Now you have to get out there and you have to load up as much as you possibly can for Purelator. As Tim White, in his great day, with another number 12 sitting on the other side, shaking his head after the way that last drive ended. 3rd and 1. Thought about going for it. Whistle issues play clock and then walks off, and Liram Hajrullahu puts 3 more points on the board, but got a feeling it's got to be touchdowns if you want to beat Hamilton here today on home turf. As nice cutback that time from Greg Bell, spinning through arm tackles out to the 51-yard line.
A nice execution here by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Going to get the pulling lineman. Looking to kick out a Rimolade on the end. Woodmansey gets enough him. Nice reaction by Greg Bell to get that one north-south as soon as he sees that block occur.
Good to see Bell back in the ball game here. James Tuck with a nice kick out block. The fullback on that last play as well, as now Toronto will rush 5. Bo gets it away, looks into coverage, and he dropped it in. Was it complete? No, they'll say it hit the turf. It's incomplete, looking for Tim White, and coverage on the play that time by Mark Milton, his first year with the Argonauts.
Yeah, it looked like Tim White bobbled that one upon contact wasn't able to secure it before he was actually out of bounds. There he's got it. There you see Milton. Takes him down. Milton, who started the season as a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
Audibly, you can tell Bo doing a lot of working from the line of scrimmage here today, checking with everybody sideline to sideline as Mitchell looks over the top. Receiver falls down, incomplete. And that time just lost an edge, it looked like, for White. So a couple of rough snaps for a guy who's been great here throughout this game. Is Deshaun Amos the closest man in coverage?
Tim White, the middleman of 3 receivers, going out to that wide side of the field. I saw him just sliding as he tried to make that break to the out.
Amos thinking to himself he maybe should have had a hand on that football. It'll just go down as an incompletion. And I haven't said this man's name a whole lot today based on how the offense for Hamilton has been flowing. Nick Constantino, Texas A&M, first year, ready to kick it away. Sidewinder with the wind starting to whip at Tim Hortons Field. Drops down to Janarian Grant. Flag comes down. Looks like no yards will be called. As Janarian Grant, in the history of the Canadian Football League, how often he's able to make big plays, especially now here in Toronto, the way that this is just taken off.
Hamilton, number 34. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's going to be first down for Toronto.
Pretty impressive company there, obviously, for Janarian Grant. Kick returning royalty. You see
the duct tape?
Different tact with the hair after having a couple of the dreads pulled out by tacklers this season.
Fair game. Hair out the back of the helmet. Some teams have taken advantage of it on Janarian, trying to punish a guy who's punished so many teams across the league with great returns this season. Yet to get the wheels turning.
Correcting the spot, should be at the 40-yard line. 40-yard line going out.
As the video official makes the correction, according to referee Ben Major. But once he gets running downhill, especially late in games, right? So many of those returns coming in 3rd and 4th quarters. That he's really been a difference maker for them in this season, in which the Argonauts are sitting here. And yes, they have a above 500 record, but without him, I'm not sure that they'd be able to say that. It's Chad Kelly back in the lineup here in the huddle, holds onto the football once again, now rips it over the middle. Devontae Coxie, and he'll pick up an Argonauts first down after crossing the 100-yard mark. The first Argonaut to do that last week in their game with Saskatchewan.
Yeah, they had been a little more conservative than what we grew to expect from the Argos last year.
Another completion from Chad Kelly now as Toronto gets to the line quickly. Trying to set things up. And it looks like they have called the 3-minute warning on the field. There's tons of emotion at Tim Hortons Field today. These two spirited clubs with their fan bases in attendance just down the road. The quarterbacks dueling, the defenses are balling. And we got a game here. 3-minute warning in the first half, 24-9 in the 53rd Labor Day Classic in Hamilton.
The best halftime panel we have ever put together, the physicality of the game. We got Chad's miscues. We got Tim White just lighting it up on Labor Day. How come I didn't get any popcorn? Stiegel eating popcorn. He's slipping. He's slipping, Dwayne and Marshall.
I don't believe you, kid. I can see you guys from here. I don't think Stiegel's actually eating that stuff. He's just using it for target practice.
You know, Milt told me that long trip home from Victoria, he faked being asleep the whole way home so he didn't have to talk to Ches.
Oh, really?
That's what he said.
Well, they'll talk about that coming up at halftime as Chad Kelly gets another completion, double and triple caught that time in front of Jamal Peters and Kyle Wilson, but Mackay Polk makes another grab here as Toronto continues to chip away. A couple defensive substitutions for the Tiger Cats, so they'll hold this for a second until they get set. With 2:40 remaining in the first half. Kelly handing it off inside. Ryan Baker. The UBC makes the tackle, but not until another Argonauts first down as they head deeper inside the score zone. Spot the ball just beyond the 15-yard line.
It's been interesting the last couple of weeks, of course, last week in Winnipeg, this week versus Toronto, to see some of the different personnel combinations that Chris Jones has chosen to use. on this Hamilton defense. We mentioned Ryan Baker out of UBC, the rookie, getting a lot more snaps.
Kelly leans into this one and threw it about as hard as he could to the outside shoulder of DeMonte Coxie as they continue to get into a rhythm with each other. And Coxie and Peters, Matthew Shinetti spoke about it earlier on in this ball game, right there matched up one-on-one.
Good rivalry there, probably built in practice. We heard the conversation in the Touchdown Pacific game about Dominic Grimes and Gary Peters battling against each other in practice in BC, and now finding themselves on different teams.
Once again, trying to find the soft spot. Touchdown Argos. They finally get into the end zone. Tavares Daniels on the receiving end from Chad Kelly.
Tavares Daniels, who posted a career high in receiving yards last season. Bit of a slower start to this 2024 season for him, but maybe looking to kick it into gear with the return of his battery mate Chad Kelly.
And a lot of just settling down, spreading things out, getting the ball out of Chad's hand quickly on that drive. They'll go for 2 here. They do trail by 9. An efficient drive, 7 plays, 70 yards in less than 2 minutes. Blink and you missed it. But into the end zone for Tavares Daniels. Now can they tag on to 2? Kelly looks to run, goes right, left, and gets flipped up at the goal line. Jamal Peters, for the second time, takes out the legs of Toronto's starting quarterback, Chad Kelly.
Big hit there, but Chad Kelly looking to shake it off.
The previous scoring play is under automatic review by the command center.
They had to take a look at it. It was close. We'll see exactly where they decide that the football got to. But Kelly paying the price for that one. Just hoping it was worth 2 points and not 0.
So we'll see where that ball touches down. You know, I don't think the ball ever crosses that front plane of the goal line.
Nope. Jamal Peters goes even slightly slower. He might not have the force to stop Kelly's momentum towards the goal line. As the command center takes a look at it, Al Bradbury, the replay official for this Labor Day Classic in Hamilton. As the Hamilton fans unsurprisingly believe it should not be for 2, here's the call.
Upon automatic review of a scoring play, the previous play is overturned. The convert is unsuccessful.
They were right.
Never bet against those guys.
So Kelly, as I said, pays the price and doesn't turn it in to a single score game the way that he thought he could. As here inside the stadium, they get the replay for all the fans to confirm the call from command. Hamilton gets the football back. They'll return it and sliding down, losing his edge as well, just beyond the 25-yard line. It's 24-15 now after the touchdown from Chad Kelly. Very, very slow start, but really picking things up here in the second quarter.
Yeah, now it's really up to the Hamilton Tiger Cats to respond. They had all of the momentum through the opening 15-20 minutes of this football game. Let it slip away here in the second quarter.
Moxie just couldn't get there in time on Tavares Daniels. So into the end zone Toronto goes, and Hamilton with possession back goes to the big man, Giovanni Robinson, who very quickly can take what should be a 5-yard catch and turn it into a 9-yard grab.
Yeah, lots of talk this season about Hamilton's desire to get tight ends involved. Had a look at a couple Americans at the spot, but it's been Giovanni Robinson who's had the most snaps and has been the most productive from that spot.
As you say that, they take Giovanni Robinson out, but they just substituted in Leah Tagovailoa, who will go out wide. Andy Litre is in, and they've got about 4 fullbacks, offensive linemen, and all the rest in as they plunge forward on 2nd and 1. Giving Bo Levi Mitchell a second to go to the sideline, have a conversation with the coaching staff, and now after picking up the first down, they will leave Tagovailoa on the field with Mitchell on the sidelines and see what they cook up here with the former Maryland quarterback.
That's Maryland's all-time leader in passing yardage.
This is extremely Maryland, spreading things out. 3 offensive linemen. Tagovailoa trying to get a handle on the football, and he does screen it out as Brendan O'Leary Orange makes the grab, but putting the tackles out on the end of the scrimmage. Well, something different is there is Leah Tagovailoa in his career. And who's that guy in second?
Yeah, it's surprising he's getting any snaps here at Hamilton, given who he had to pass to become Maryland's all-time passing leader, Scott Milanovic. Hamilton's head coach, of course, one of the all-time Terrapin greats. Scott still holds the single season, single game, top 2 single games passing marks in Maryland history.
Levi Mitchell with plenty of accolades to his career as well, as Hamilton converts on 2nd down, and a little bit of throwback to Scott Milanovic ripping the rock around at Maryland.
Yes, sir, slinging it. You see his career passing numbers. Now Talia, a little more playing time, right? Extra year to play through the pandemic. Beat him by about 4,000 yards on that all-time list.
Levi Mitchell steps up downfield, throws a strike to Tim White. Got 2 touchdowns on the day and another conversion here. When Bo is seeing it clean at Tim Hortons Field, he is finding open receivers with ease. That arm has come alive.
And again, the biggest positive for the Hamilton Tiger Cats is that Bo Levi Mitchell and Tim White seem to finally be in sync, because that's been a struggle for much of this season.
Pressure coming from the Argonauts. Mitchell has to get rid of it. He does. Shamar Bridges gets forward to about the 36-yard line before he's brought down. Big body of Bridges and Tim White, the 2 mainstays in this receiving corps throughout the year.
Yeah, great chat, as you mentioned earlier, with Shamar Bridges earlier this week. You know, we see him as this 6'4" first-year receiver. He was telling us he was 5'7" his sophomore year of high school, so not heavily recruited at all.
Greg Bell running hard all the way down to the 26-yard line. There's another first down conversion for the Tiger Cats, this time using the legs of Greg Bell. And they'll go quickly back to the line of scrimmage here with 22 seconds remaining in this first half.
And I think the variety of tacks that we've seen from the Hamilton offense so far in this ballgame is creating some opportunities for Greg Bell to run the rock now.
Mitchell, as DeAndre Smith motions into the backfield to help pass protect, gets him lots of time, goes underneath. Stephen Dunbar Jr. catches it at the 15, and he'll be brought down just outside of the 10 with 6 seconds remaining in this first half. Enough time to run a snap here offensively or send the kicking unit out?
Do they want to risk it? They're going to make sure that they get a shot at points here.
Mark Leggio does come off the Hamilton sideline.
Yeah, 6 seconds. You don't leave yourself a lot of margin for error if something goes sideways to still get the field goal unit out there. Good decision, particularly given the score.
Nick Constantino, the punter, will be the holder here. Gordon White, long snapper for the Tiger Cats and working on coverage, sends it back to Constantino before the right foot of Leggio hammers it through. A 27-15 first half advantage for the Hamilton Tiger Cats over the Toronto Argonauts. Bo Levi Mitchell in his first half started on fire after going 0 for 1.
Yeah, Hamilton starting their first possession after a turnover. Bo came out slinging. Hit Tim White for a couple of big touchdowns. You saw him there using his legs to move the sticks. Terrific opening half for Bo Levi Mitchell. the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and their quarterback is down below with Matthew Shinetti right now.
Well, we talked about it this week. You said shot for shot, you may not be going up against the opposing quarterback, but you know you got to raise your level on Labor Day. How imperative is it to keep that offense rolling in the second half?
It's huge. I mean, it's our job to get these fans into the game. We got them into it early. We got to keep them in it because they're the best fans in the league, man. When they're going, it makes it really hard on the other offense.
Also, too, when you're going with Tim White, how have you seen that chemistry build this week so that you're maximizing it today?
Yeah, I mean, last week, we built on it over in Winnipeg. This week was a great week of practice. Honestly, didn't find him that much this week in practice, but again, when it's game day, man, just find your guys.
Thanks, Bo.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, Kate, Argos are only down 12, but offenses are kicking on both sides. The energy is high here at Tim Hortons Field.
Matthew, we would expect
2-point conversion attempt came up short. And after a field goal by Hamilton to wind things down with Mark Leggio, 27-15 is your score in the 53rd Labor Day Classic, as the special teams units have been firing themselves up for the last couple of minutes out here on field, getting set for the Argonauts to receive after Hamilton deferred in that first half, winning the coin toss. So Mark Leggio will put it on the tee. Returners sort themselves out. And just like the beginning of this football game, the ball rolls off the tee with the winds continuing to swirl, as you'd expect, as we head into the late summer here in the Golden Horseshoe. Leggio puts it back on the tee. 2 quarters in the books. 2 to go from Hamilton. Marion Grant receives this at his own 24-yard line and runs into a black and gold wall. It's put down just shy of the 40-yard line as Chad Kelly comes out to begin his second half. Here's a look back at his first.
Yeah, and again, continued ups and downs for Chad Kelly. Slow start, maybe trying to force a deep ball early on. Gets picked. That led to Hamilton's first touchdown of the ball game, but he did seem to settle in a little bit, at least throwing the football, found some comfort. But I think the biggest message for Chad Kelly at halftime, you heard the panel allude to this a little bit, is just take a breath.
Yeah.
Just take a deep breath.
Well, Ryan Dinwiddie decides to script a breath for him here to open up the second half as Kadeem Carey runs right into Stavros Katsantonis coming down from his free safety spot. But Kelly turning around and admiring the physicality of this run from Carey.
Yeah, nice downhill run. This is right up Kadeem Carey's alley, so to speak. Straight up the gut, meeting the safety.
Kadeem Carey, third amongst active running backs in career yardage. Brady Oliveira and William Stanback, the 2 ahead of him, as Kelly checks it down underneath. The other back, Deonta McMahon, crosses the 40, cuts back at the 35. And with all 12 defenders trying to track down Deonta McMahon, he isn't wrapped up until he's inside the 30-yard line.
A good poise from Chad Kelly on the scramble here. An awareness of where that line of scrimmage is. Knowing he's still able to throw that football and let Deonta McMahon go to work in a little bit of open space.
1st and 10 from the Hamilton 28 already as they go back to that little inside sit-down route. And it's frustrating the Hamilton defense. I think Toronto's found a little something here after their touchdown drive. They used so much of that, including a touchdown on a play very similar to DeVaris Daniels.
Yeah, a little bit more patience, quite frankly, for the Toronto Argonauts offensively here. Hamilton able to sit back a little bit early as Chad Kelly was trying to push the ball downfield, maybe trying to force some things, but now as they're giving him some underneath stuff, that's what he's taking.
Pressure look from Hamilton. They'll blitz off the edge with Jamal Peters. They pick it up. Kelly pumps, cuts back, looking for the end zone. Chad Kelly, touchdown Argos. And what felt like a chaotic beginning to this game for the Argonauts offense, out of sorts, an interception early on, turns into a succinct, efficient, and accurate touchdown drive for the Double Blue.
Yeah, terrific start to this third quarter for the Toronto Argonauts. There you see 4-man rush, 8 in coverage. Chad Kelly, we mentioned earlier, Nick Usher playing as more of a linebacker a lot in this ball game. He's a guy who's played his whole career as a defensive lineman, maybe not used to coming up to make tackles from that, those in space and from those angles. Got juked in space by Chad Kelly en route to the end zone.
Hiram Haralahu tags on the extra point. Just a few minutes into this second half, already a different mood at Tim Hortons Field thanks to the legs of Chad Kelly. Was heading to Ancaster, decided Stony Creek was the route. Into the end zone for 6. Well, usually we put together these drive highlight packs and it's play after play after. This is 4 plays. This happened fast, you're going.
Yeah, mixing it up, but mixing it up quickly. Kadeem Carey, Deonta McMahon. Chad Kelly finishing it off himself. The Argos a little closer, within 1 score here.
Sales trying to peel his way back in. Wasn't able to get there in time as Kelly reached the end zone and tightens down this game. If there's one man they got to get going here for Hamilton offensively once again, it's number 12, Tim White.
Yeah, Tim White has reestablished himself these last couple weeks as the go-to guy. The Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. Big yardage and 2 touchdowns for him in the first quarter of this ball game. Ticats putting up all 3 of those touchdowns with the win.
Well, Levi Mitchell checks it down to open up the second half as Greg Bell makes the grab here. But for Tim White, getting on the same page with Bo Levi Mitchell, as we talked about in the first half, has been a struggle. But when it is good, it is great when these two can kind of sort each other out, read the body language, and understand where they're going.
Yeah, things really clicked for them last week. Tim White had his first 30-plus yard reception of the year, longest catch of the year, obviously, for him last week. Over 100 yards receiving for him in that ball game. And now to do that in back-to-back weeks, a big step for the Hamilton offense.
In the right direction for sure. As Bo Levi Mitchell gets popped in behind the play, they go back to White. And that won't work out the way they drew it up on either end, Mitchell or White.
And it'll be interesting to see. You know, we haven't talked a lot about the win in this football game, but it is so often a story here at Tim Hortons Field. The coin toss, often one of the most critical parts of games. Hamilton will have the win in the 4th quarter of this ball game. Toronto has it now and has momentum. You saw them score quickly. Very efficient use of their time with the win. If you're Hamilton, you want to slow things down a little bit. And again, more reason to go high efficiency passing game, get Greg Bell involved. You don't mind running lots of plays and keeping the clock moving here in the 3rd quarter.
Into that wind, a great kick from Constantino, which Janarian Grant gets at the 20-yard line, and the coverage units right there. The NFL season kicks off with the Ravens taking on the defending champions, the Chiefs, on Thursday at 8:20 Eastern, 5:20 Pacific on TSN.
You can never have too much football.
Both sides of the border. Great to have everyone watching CBS Sports Network down south, enjoying some Labor Day CFL action. Casey Sales, Ohio University digs in, trying to track down Chad Kelly. First, they'll have to deal with the ground game of Kadeem Carey as he's picking him up and putting him down all the way out to the 39-yard line. And the Argonauts running game that's been dominant at various points throughout the first half of this season really coming to life all of a sudden.
And Kadeem Carey has looked terrific in this ball game, and obviously, along with Kadeem Carey, that offensive line has often been the 6-man unit. Tonight, Ryan Hunter, usually the starter at left guard, has been the man on the move, often lining up at tight end.
All over the place today as we see Kadeem Carey with another carry down at field level. Matthew Schnetti has an update on some of the footwork changes going on.
Well, naturally I would, Marshall, given my taste for footwear, but if you're a keen-eyed observer, take a look at Kadeem Carey's shoes. He just had them changed before the last series. He's now wearing what are called destroyers. A little slippage on the field in that first half on both sides, but Equipment manager Danny Webb, the longtime equipment manager for the Argos. Again, he has a lot of penchant for footwear. He did this in the 2017 Grey Cup to the Argos' advantage. Kadeem Carey looking for a little traction in the second half, guys.
They're running a little differently as well since he made the changes. This pass incomplete. Jonathan Moxey there in coverage. Looking for Tavares Daniels. Those almost look like the old Sharks. They steal that out of your bag,
Well, I'll tell you, the Destroyers have been around for a long time. I remember my good friend, our equipment manager in Calgary, George Hopkins, when things got a little slushy. You went on the road, there would be a pair of Destroyers packed in every bag.
Secrets of the CFL, generations gone by. No staples in the bottom for now. That's coming up later on this year as the weather turns, but a perfect afternoon for football here. This is a strange one as Bird is going to watch this ball trickle out of bounds inside the 5 and never even saw Jordan Bird trying to get up to speed. We'll give you an update on that when we return. Hamilton continues. Field position is about as bad as it could possibly be for the Hamilton Tiger Cats here, but maybe this even worse is Jordan Bird never got up to speed, standing back ready to return the punt, took a step to the side, and by the time the ball was anywhere near him, he couldn't catch up to it, had to be carried off, as you see just a second to go. And obviously that left knee bothering him in a way that was substantial enough that he couldn't get going, so had to take a knee and go down. And one of 5 different Tiger Cats to return punts this season, but only 2 of them have a return of over 30 yards, and one of them is Jordan Bird right there. So Bo Levi Mitchell backed up inside of his 5, all the way at the 1, turns around. They'll give it to the freight train, Antti Litre. Gets him a little bit of breathing room and more out to the 10.
Yeah, that's exactly what you needed on first down. Low risk play that gets you away from those goalposts, gives you some more offensive options. Get the 2 backs in the backfield. James Tuck in at fullback leading the way. Antti Litre to pull his way for about 9.
About the 8-year left guard Brandon Revenberg at a Grand Valley State University leading the way around as well here on Labor Day. As now Litre gets another carry, this time straight ahead from under center. There's a short yardage package. Collects another first down for the Tiger Cats.
Antti Litre. His work done for that particular series.
Mark Milton tapped out after trying to get the punch out, and then John Jones came over the top to really drive it home. So 1st and 10, pressure on from the right side of Bo. He gets it out of his hands. That's complete, and DeAndre Smith makes the grab as Hamilton, Scott Milanovich calling the shots here, really trying to extend the field as far horizontal as they possibly can, trying to get the ball into different playmakers' hands.
Yeah, and as well as that, we talk about the low-risk plays, and going back to what I mentioned before about kind of the clock and situation management in terms of dealing with the wind, right? Slowing things down a little bit here, using up the Argos' time with the wind at their backs.
It's been a bit of a grind so far in this 3rd quarter for Hamilton as Bo looks to Tim White, makes another grab, tiptoes down that sideline, and he'll pick up the first down. Needed 43 yards to reach 4,000 for his career here in the Canadian Football League coming in. And he picked it up on the first time he touched the football here today for a touchdown. He has 2 of them.
And get that business out of the way early. And focus on trying to get a win here today for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hoping Labor Day success could launch them to a big finish and perhaps a playoff spot.
Certainly trying to track down 3rd spot in the East Division, and the best way to do that is to beat these guys right across from them today. Hand off from Bo Levi, goes to Greg Bell. Sign that time. Picks up a solid chunk, and it'll leave them with a 2nd down and 3 yards to go. In comes Giovanni Robinson, the big fullback off the sideline. Fullback tight end. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll let him in the club. We're all fighting extinction.
I don't know how, because if you're as big as Giovanni Robinson with hands and can run, there's a spot for you on the football field. as Hamilton has shown so far this year. They'll hand it off inside. Greg Bell, and off to the races he goes, out to the 50-yard line, tackled on the Ticat logo. But another Hamilton first down, and Greg Bell all of a sudden, as you say, grinding away in the third quarter. But when the ground game's working, it is successful big time for all things Hamilton.
Yeah, and watch the bootleg action that you're going to get. Giovanni Robinson releases to the flat, but Bo getting out of there holds the defense a little bit, helps create that opening on the inside for Greg Bell by forcing the contained players to stay on the perimeter.
A lot of different ways to eliminate defenders, sometimes with your body, sometimes with design. That time Hamilton does a little bit of both. They get 1st and 10, go back to Litre as he goes across the 55 and will roll his way close to another first down. As the Toronto front seven all of a sudden reeling a little bit.
And the former Simon Fraser star having himself a pretty good day here in spot duty in that Hamilton backfield.
Milanovich with 2nd and 1. Gotta wonder some of these situations when you got Tagovailoa on the field. Do they do anything creative? Do they mix and match, knowing his skill set? Litre just across midfield, gets behind his offensive line, fades off to the right-hand side behind David Beard and Coulter Woodmansey. And another first down for the Tiger Cats.
Perfect situational drive here so far for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, including when you consider the field position that they started with to move the ball this far. Huge success.
Feels like an old high school game at Ivor Wynn right now with the amount of running Hamilton is doing. 4 receivers to the left of Bo, hands it off, trying to use those bodies out in front. DeAndre Smith lost the battle. That's a great defensive play that time. Looks like that was Quincy Moget getting into the mix. Haven't said his name much, but one of the talented former Georgia Bulldogs. Played a little bit of free safety with the BC Lions before coming over.
Yeah, Moget opened the season as a starter at nickel linebacker for the Argos. He was injured. Robert Priester came in, took over that spot. But Moget still finding himself a role with his versatility here.
Down the field, Mitchell. Royce Metier, the free safety right there, incomplete. DeAndre Smith, closest man to the football that time. It looked like they had Bo protected pretty good, but just couldn't get on the same page.
Yeah, taking a shot there. This one, as the coverage unfolds, turning into a little Griffin on Griffin battle. Metier versus Smith.
Tells me maybe Bo thinks wrong shoulder. A little bit of miscommunication on it, but an effective drive nonetheless, and it rolls the clock in this third quarter all the way down to 3 minutes when Nick Constantino comes out.
Yeah, like you think, Marshall, if they go 2 and out on a possession that starts at their 1 yard line, they're handing the Argos points.
Yeah.
Right? What they've done here is, even coming up empty, still a successful drive for the Tiger Cats.
Well, might not have won the war yet, but that battle, give it to the Tiger Cats. They lead 27-22. Continues today as the Elks take on the Stampeders at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific on TSN. I had to do that just because Chez ran up here into the booth. So
Yes, we've had a security breach. Chez has made his way up from the field.
running around the stadium, having fun on Labor Day after a crazy travel weekend for our panel. Great to have them on location here at Tim Hortons Field as Chad Kelly digs in, looking to put some more points on the board, trailing by 5, 2:40 remaining in this third quarter. And for Chad Kelly, the incompletion that he had to end the last Argonauts possession, which by the way was before the 6.5-minute Hamilton Tiger Cats strategy, featured almost exclusively running until that Bo Levi Mitchell incompletion. Before that, Chad Kelly had completed all of his last 13 passes.
Certainly settling into a groove. It'll be interesting here now, Marshall, to see if time ticking away on this third quarter, if he looks to take a bit of a shot.
Kelly Backpedaling, certainly looks like he wants to load it up, and he will. It's Dave Unger, one-on-one down the field, makes the grab. Destin Talbert couldn't cut back underneath fast enough. And the former Hamilton Tiger Cat Ungerer, who had a touchdown in the 2021 Labor Day game for the Tiger Cats, he makes the big grab. They'll cross midfield.
Yeah, watch on the right side of your screen. Beautiful adjustment to the football with that ball in the air. He recognizes it's coming, kind of ducks, swims underneath the defender to come back and get it as the ball's hanging up there.
Snap dribbles back to Kelly, picks it up off the Tim Hortons Field turf, pumps, looks down the field, and then slides down. I think Chad's taken enough physicality here in the running game, using his legs, but on the previous play it was his arm that was the story.
Yeah, he puts it up there. This one hangs up a little bit, though. David Ungerer, as you mentioned, the 11th overall pick back in 2019 by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Career high in receiving yards for him last year as an Argo. Breaks off his route and comes underneath the defender to make that play.
Really settled in nicely to that wide side wide receiver position in Toronto since going over in free agency, as Kelly looks over the middle of the defense, complete, and just outside of the 20-yard line. Boris Daniels has put together a really solid afternoon here in Hamilton.
Yeah, they're always reliable. Boris Daniels, as mentioned, maybe seeing his workload within this Toronto offense being upped a little bit with the return of Chad Kelly, given the chemistry that these two guys had a year ago.
Four receivers to the left of Kelly. He'll rip it out there without even finding the laces. Got it out of his hands as quickly as possible with some numbers out there for the Argonauts. But Hamilton's defense rallies to the football, no gain.
Yeah, fantastic defensive play by Destin Talbert on that one. Recognizing the play, beating the block. Stepping up to eliminate any potential Argo gain.
A little lull in the third quarter for the crowd after seeing that 6.5-minute rushing gain. They're back to life here with Kelly and the Argonauts on 2nd and 10. Kelly checks it down underneath. And that's going nowhere. Great open field tackle made on Deonta McMahon. As Jamal Peters makes another play, the former Argos All-Star. 26 Labor Day Classics of the 53 have come down to the final 3 minutes. 27-22, Hamilton leads with 1 quarter to play. I think we might have another in store for you. Stick around, the final quarter of Labor Day in Hamilton when we return.
Fortinet Cup, where 10 Corn Ferry Tour cards and the dream of playing on the PTA Tour are up for grabs. The Fortinet Cup champion will be crowned at the season-ending Fortinet Cup Championship, hosted by TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley in Caledon, Ontario.
Hey, Scotty Barnes, how do you Subway?
Cold cut combo, loaded with banana peppers, and I mean loaded. Woo!
However you Subway, get a free drink and chips with any sub purchase.
TSN Plus brings big-time football to a whole new level.
Oh, baby! What a move!
With live enhanced data feeds of the CFL all season long.
I'm a fan. I want to see this more often.
Subscribe now and start streaming. A new NFL season kicks off Thursday on TSN and CTV.
Hey, CFL family, I'm here to announce the Labor Day 65K. For CFL fans fight cancer, I'm gonna walk from BMO Field to Tim Hortons Field. Please, to support me, please send money to CFL fans fight cancer. I can't wait, it's gonna be fun. Cheers.
The CFL family is incredible. Here's Connor Suave and Dallas Bergen. They walked 65 kilometers starting Friday from BMO Field here to Tim Hortons Field this morning. Coincidentally, it took me that long. I live by BMO Field to drive here. But again, CFL fans fight cancer has been doing this for a couple of years now. They ended up at the tailgate right out by Tim Hortons Field. There are the boys right there. You see that bucket? The goal is $40,000 before game time. They were just under $6,000. Everybody, go to CFL Fans Fight Cancer. Donate. What a cause. The CFL family undefeated. Marsh.
And no doubt about that. Lots of winners involved with that cause. Tremendous work they've been doing over the last little while, Matthew. We see Dallas and Connor sitting there. taking in a little bit of Labor Day action. I think the legs are tired. A little sore, maybe.
I'll tell you what.
Where did they stop? Where did they grab a nap? Was that Port Credit I saw?
There was some Port Credit footage in there. I am proud to say they made their way through my hood.
Great afternoon to be able to watch the Argos and Ticats go at it with the season series. Possible right now for Hamilton to take if they can close this out, but Liram Hairolahu putting 3 more through, makes it 27-25 with Bo Levi Mitchell now ready to throw after switching ends of the field. This one high and a huge hit. James Tuck, the fullback, got hung up the wrong direction, and Tavares McFadden, the former leader in NCAA interceptions, took advantage.
Yeah, James Tuck, you can see this one coming in slow motion from our vantage point. McFadden bearing down as Tuck goes airborne to try and make a play here. Absolutely rocked.
Biggest hits we've seen the last couple of years in the CFL. I got a feeling Dallas and Connor might have been talking about that one on the walk home if they're going. There's now Bo Levi Mitchell. Sack. It's Parrish. So incomplete on first down. And then Parrish goes and gets himself another sack this season, taking down Bo Levi Mitchell. And the Tiger Cats going backwards after just trying to get to this fourth quarter with the wind at their back.
Yeah, Derek Parrish got into this D-line rotation to start the season, a few more reps. Well, Folarin Orimolade was out of the lineup. Making a big contribution here. Shut down this Tiger Cat drive.
Argonauts defensive line, best pass rush win rate in the CFL this season, over 51%. Shenarian Grant hauls this one in, gets what he can, but the defense, the Argonauts, all of a sudden step it up. McFadden with the massive blow on James Tuck, and then Bo Levi Mitchell. No Levi Mitchell, nowhere to go. 2-point game at the Hammer. Well, the 52nd Labor Day Classic last year. You know, they play this game every year, Dwayne.
Every year, you said.
Look at that. Tavares Daniels into the end zone. Demonte Coxie. A lot of similar characters here, except for this guy. A.J. Olette throwing a touchdown pass. Thor's hammer came alive. Toronto went on to win. Right now trying to climb their way back in as Chad Kelly rolls to his right, completes. David Unger on the receiving end there. Gain of 14 yards across midfield and another Argonauts first down.
Yeah, Hamilton jumped out to that big early lead, and the Argos have just been chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. We're now set up for a great finish as Kelly has the Argos across midfield.
Kelly 4-0 in his relatively young career against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Had his 4th career game-winning drive last week as well. Here we are in the 4th, down by 2. Kelly, quick screen pass outside. Kevin Mittal, and he refuses to go down. Wrapped up about the 36-yard line, but back-to-back first downs on first down here for the Double Blue.
And we're seeing a little bit of the full Kevin Mittal package here for the Toronto Argonauts. He's motioning out to the slot just across the numbers. Great block on the outside by Coxie to spring him, but you know, I mean, this is one of the things we marveled at about Mittal at the Combine. This is a guy who's one of the most athletic receivers in the draft, clearly gifted. It's like a 225-pound guy, right? This is
great defensive play that time. Is that one of the former Toronto Argonauts defensive linemen? Yes, Dwayne Hendricks. This is teaching tape right here for any young defensive lineman trying to rip underneath and finish off a running back.
Yeah, you'll see Hendricks in his defensive tackle spot. He's fighting off the block, slicing through to make that play in the backfield.
Ball checks back into the game here. They'll line up. The slot to the top of your screen. They go back to the quarterback draw. Chad Kelly on 2nd and 11. Nowhere to go. Ray Wilborn, number 0. Came onto the roster late, as we said earlier, but he and Nick Usher close it down, and the quarterback draw not going the way that Chad envisioned when they put it in the game plan.
Yeah, I mean, good anticipation in terms of what they were going to see defensively from Hamilton. 3-man front, you know, everybody's dropping off in coverage, so good idea is essentially you only have to beat 3 guys to have a shot at that first down, but the Tiger Cats were waiting on it, it seemed.
A chance to take the lead for the first time all ball game. Never in doubt with Liram Haralahu, 28-27. Toronto has climbed back on top of the black and gold at their house. And a lot of it's been from the right foot of that man, Liram Haralahu. Big turnaround in this ball game since Hamilton came storming out of the gates. As you see right there, Hamilton yet to put any points on the board in this second half as we sit in the fourth with Liram Haralahu chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. All of a sudden, Hamilton trails. Levi Mitchell with the football in his right hand, incomplete, knocked away. It was intended. It's like Quincy Mauger on the coverage, Stephen Dunbar Jr. on the other end.
And now you suddenly, when you're Hamilton, find yourself feeling a little bit of desperation, particularly here at 2nd and 10.
Levi Mitchell, 2 of his last 6 as he operates at the line of scrimmage, as he's done so much of here this afternoon. Now it's 2nd and 10. Oh, with pressure on to his right, steps back up into the pocket, looks down the field, thinks about going to get it with his legs. He does, slides down at the 53-yard line.
An eye on Jordan Murray on this one, the right tackle. Little help from the receiver. Fortunately, he's able to pin his man, which helps Bo in that escape. Love it. Love seeing Bo use the legs to extend plays, and in this case, drives.
Second time we've seen him pick up a decent piece today with his feet. As this time Shamar Bridges makes the grab for a minimal gain, but haven't seen a lot of it in his game. You know, people kind of joke about it. He's a pocket guy and all the rest, but he manages the pocket well, Dwayne, and when he gets the opportunity, when he's healthy and confident, he's never going to win a race, but he's going to do just enough, which there's been a lot of good Hamilton Tiger Cats quarterbacks who could say the same, including one Danny Mack.
Yeah, that's it. Nobody's looking for him to run for, you know, 70 yards a game or anything like that, but chip in with about 30 in situations like that are, as I said, extending drives. That's winning football.
Well timed, but they need to complete passes like this as well, as they'll say incomplete, looking for Stephen Dunbar Jr. So what felt like a promising drive for Hamilton will end right there on an incomplete pass on 2nd and 8.
Tough one here as it comes in a little bit low. Got hands on it, but Dunbar just unable to pluck it off the turf.
Well, Centino this time hammers it, low line drive, tries to get the spin and can't pin Toronto after a massive kick. So the sink goes up, and that makes it, guess what? A tie ball game.
Sir.
28s across the board. As Chad Kelly now in a tie ball game, 28-28 with 8:28 remaining. Alo catch the first international game of the season on Friday at 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific on TSN Plus. Sao Paulo. That's where they're off to for that one. Ooh, international.
You ever been?
Never been. Never been. No. Yeah. Stuck in North America. We'll get out of here together someday. Dwayne, you and I, we'll take on the world. Chad Kelly.
I was in Winnipeg last week.
There you go. Yeah. 19 for his last 20. Started 3 of 7 in this ball game. And looks to complete another one here. He does. DeMonte Coxey catches it for a 5-yard gain. There's Jamal Peters on the tackle and a little slow onto his feet. Peters feeling a little bit of something in that great matchup we've been talking about throughout the afternoon.
proven to be a terrific pickup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And we talk all the time about needing a lockdown guy at that boundary corner position. Jamal Peters certainly fits the bill.
Lines up there on this play. They throw it at him again, and he flies in. Brings down David Unger. Maybe Ryan Dinwiddie trying to go after Peters, thinking that he had something going on from that previous play in the one-on-one with Coxie, but Peters turned up the battery as soon as the snap came up.
Yeah, I think any opportunity in a contact situation, Jamal Peters will rise to that challenge. A stop for Chris Jones' crew. Opportunity for the Cats to try and take the lead.
Great shot there too. You could see Tyler Turnowski into the ball game with Keandre Smith. The Canadian receivers at the top of your screen as well. So they'll line up across from Deshaun Amos and Tavares McFadden defensively. Pressure on here from Toronto. Bo gets it out to Robinson, runs through a tackler, stays on his feet, and looks like he's got the first down. They go to the big man, and why not? Catches it at the line of scrimmage. Refuses to be tackled as the officials huddle up to discuss.
Yeah, Giovanni Robinson lined up as a tight end here. Releases from the right side of your screen. Just quick shot out to the flat. I think they're trying to figure out exactly when his knee touched down here.
Mark Milton finally the one that tapped him down, but they do move the chain gang all the way to the 21-yard line. 4 minutes remaining in Hamilton. Tie ball game, and a flag comes out now.
On the previous play, Hamilton only had 6 players on the line of scrimmage. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll repeat second down.
So one short and take it back.
So if you look out on the wide side of the field, nobody's on the line of scrimmage outside of the tackle on that side. So you have your 5 linemen plus Robinson, who's the tight end. On the right side, that's 6, but you needed one of the receivers to step up on the line over on the left side there.
I mentioned Turnowski was up at the top there, just checking into the ball game.
Yeah, Turnowski had come in when Bridges got hurt.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's ended up in a receiver position that he rarely plays.
Make it 2nd and 9 instead of 2nd and 4, which they already converted with Giovanni Robinson. They'll whistle it in as we roll inside 4 minutes remaining in the Labor Day Classic. Pressure look coming here. And now the finger pointing begins, an annual Labor Day tradition. What say you?
You know, my initial feeling was that it was the Argos crossing the line first, but it looked like Brandon Bordner might have flipped
Procedure.
their left tackle.
Hamilton, number 53.
Yeah.
It's a 5-yard penalty. It's going to be second down.
Yeah, they did get Bordner, and so 2nd and 4 to 2nd and 9 to 2nd and 14.
Yeah, Bordner, as he saw that blitz trying to get timed up, shuffled his feet a little bit. Keep an eye over here, left tackle. Watch as the blitzer starts approaching. Watch Bordner's feet shuffle as he's getting set to block.
Got out of his stance thinking they'd call it the other way, but it goes against Bordner. So now Bo on 2nd and 14 with pressure on, and the Argonauts defense, it's Falarna Rimolade ripping around the corner.
Well, let's take a look at the man they call Flo. As he picks up his 3rd sack of the season. There it is, dips under. And that's exactly that bend we talked about in the pregame show today. In automotive terms, he has fantastic cornering.
Good edge grip on the tires, we'd say there, as Nick Constantino holds this one down in a tie ball game from 55 yards away. Massive swing in field position. If he doesn't hit it, more than enough leg. And Hamilton retakes the lead with Mark Leggio hammering one. 2:37 remaining in the Labor Day Classic. And could that be your game winner? We'll see when we return. Janarian Grant watches on as Leggio celebrates. Be a tremendous matchup. We got work to do though here inside Tim Hortons Field, as Mark Leggio just tied his career high in the Canadian Football League with a 55-yard field goal. And it gives Hamilton a 3-point advantage, 31-28 in what is quickly turning into a classic, as you would expect.
A great Labor Day weekend so far. Obviously a fantastic, successful event in Victoria on Saturday. Great finish in Regina last night. We got a close one here.
And all the pressure's on Calgary Edmonton to bring us home.
Sure.
Because the field goal was before the 3-minute warning, Toronto can take the football at their 40-yard line. They choose to do so with Chad Kelly trying to get away from pressure, and the Hamilton defense cashes in. Nick Usher.
And a huge play there. 4th sack of the year for Nick Usher. Previous stops in his career in BC, Montreal, and Edmonton.
Toronto goes quickly here back to the line of scrimmage. So Kelly, after taking the sack with pressure on from behind, gets away. Now he's trying to fight through another tackle, and this one skipped into the turf towards Jamal Peters. It's incomplete, but a 2-and-out for now with Toronto having to stay on the field. Kelly started to run to the sideline and then thought, hey, let's go again, and now he's being told by the punter, John Haggerty, no, it is a 2-and-out.
Yeah, they're going to count on their defense to try and give them another shot here. Good awareness, I thought, initially by Kelly to know that there's pressure coming from the back. Steps away from that one. Just trying to stay alive as he forces that throw, and lucky to avoid the interception.
So Haggerty trying to create as much space as possible, nearly blocked that time. Flying in with Sermon Bagayogo. Now Tim White asked to do returner duties on top of being the touchdown hero in the first quarter with 2 of them to his name. And Hamilton has possession with 1:50 remaining. And is trying to end this Labor Day Classic on their terms.
Yeah, and you hate seeing the injuries that Hamilton has battled in terms of that returner position, but the way things have gone for Tim White the last couple of weeks, maybe don't mind a couple extra opportunities to have the football in his hands.
Yes, Talia Tagovailoa is in the ball game, a touchdown on the ground as well. Interesting to see him here inside 2 minutes remaining, trying to salt away this game, and maybe this is the run-heavy package.
Yeah, I'm anticipating some QB runs here.
And yeah, he reads it, pulls it, gets to the outside. And Tagovailoa shows off the wheels a little bit. Stands up, has to avoid taking a penalty that would set them back and stop the clock. Avoids it for now, and Bo Levi Mitchell trying to move to 7-0 in Labor Day Classics, watches on from the sideline.
Yeah.
Check. Timeout, Toronto. Excuse me.
And certainly fascinating to see in this critical situation, Hamilton putting the game essentially in the hands of a guy who's getting his first CFL touches.
A lot of trust for a young quarterback to be in this spot.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is obviously a young man who's been on some big stages throughout his career.
After the run, gain of 7 at 2nd and 3. Tagovailoa hands it off. Greg Bell spinning in the hole, almost broke free. Tackled at the 55, and a first down for Hamilton.
And that's a big one. Again, winning football, the ability to run the football when everyone in the building knows that's exactly what you're going to do. Tiger Cats getting it done on back-to-back plays.
Tagovailoa loves it. Running game going to work here. Inside 90 seconds remaining. Bo Levi Mitchell calling it out from the sidelines. Tagovailoa hands it off. Need of only a couple. And Bo Levi Mitchell with second and long trots off the sidelines.
Yeah, the situation changes here a little bit in terms of what they need, what they're looking for, but fine job done. Natalia Tagovailoa.
Bo Levi Mitchell checks in with Keandre Smith and Tim White to his left. They'll empty it out. Greg Bell goes out as a receiver as well. Mitchell looking over the top for Brendan O'Leary. Orange caught it!
Massive.
And Bo looks like he's trying to end his day the way he began it, taking big shots towards the Stifley bar here in Hamilton as the Tim Hortons Field crowd comes alive once again.
Look at the job being done by people asked to step outside their comfort zone. Keandre Smith is going to come in here. Receiver being asked to do blitz pickup. Greg Bell clears out. Smith comes in on the left. He picks that up. Critical block on that play. And perfect shot by Bo Levi Mitchell. Great concentration by Brendan O'Leary Orange, the number 2 receiver. He's running down the numbers on this one. Nice job using that right arm to help separate a little bit. The former Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
And the smile says it all as the sideline celebrates, including Tagovailoa, because it's been a season of struggle. Obviously at 2-9, Labor Day you wipe that away. But Deshaun Amos was there on the coverage and obviously in discomfort. The Argonauts training staff out to take a look at him with 48 seconds remaining. But for Bo Levi Mitchell, when it's going good, it's going great. And it's come out of his hand as smooth as ever on the Wilson today.
And I know there had been talk of the impending return of Taylor Powell as the starting quarterback. Do we have controversy?
Well, we also have a third thrown into the fray. Tagovailoa having a rushing touchdown today, which should be interesting, but a 48-yard gain with 48 seconds remaining here in this ball game. And hate to see Deshaun Amos injured, but what a great shot that is of the crowd celebrating Brendan O'Leary Orange, who had an interesting journey himself throughout his early years in the Canadian Football League, as has Taylor Powell backing up Bo Levi Mitchell over the last couple.
Well, there you see Taylor Powell on the sidelines. We saw him throwing pre-game today. Good to see him getting back at it after some scary moments following his injury against Edmonton a couple of weeks ago.
Tagovailoa goes to have a conversation with Scott Milanovich and the officials. As we take a look at the CFL standings as they are right now, winding down OK Tire Labor Day weekend here in the CFL's East Division, as strong as it has been since 2001. From top to bottom, even with the 2-9 Hamilton Tiger Cats sitting at the bottom there, but doing everything they can to try and win this game, take the season serious for Toronto, and give themselves some hope down the stretch that they could make an East semifinal, even as a road team.
Yeah, well, and fascinating to hear talk of, well, maybe Hamilton's best route is as a crossover team. But we're actually talking about the possibility of an east to west crossover for the first time in CFL history.
Say never happened before, as you see Deshaun Amos holding an arm or wrist, moving slowly to the sideline. So as he clears off the field, Well, Levi Mitchell on the sideline in conversation with Scott Milanovich. And if we thought the run-heavy package was out before, man, is it ever coming right now? But will they play off of that, do a little chestnut checkers, and let Talia throw the football here?
I would think that they are going to limit the risk as much as possible under the circumstances.
30 seconds remaining in the Labor Day Classic. Tagovailoa holds onto the football, gets wrapped up, brought down for a loss on the play. Jake Serezna and Quincy Moget were all over that one from the second the football was snapped.
Yeah, Jake Serezna and Quincy Moget were also betting that they were going to go very low risk in terms of the play call with Tagovailoa in the ball game. He's either handing it off or he's running it. He is not throwing.
With a 3-point advantage. Second and goal, technically. The crowd gets into it. They'll wait this one out. Bo Levi Mitchell will move to 7-0 as a starting quarterback. His first Labor Day Classic in 5 years, not since 2019, has Mitchell been at the helm on Labor Day. Of course, that back in Calgary before his time moving here to Hamilton. Couldn't play in this game last year, but now he is officially a winner in the Hamilton-Toronto Labor Day Classic Series.
A well-deserved win going on Bo's record. Started strong, which is one of the things they've been looking for from him all year. Came out slinging it, finished strong, did what they had to do down the stretch to set up the game-winning Mark Leggio field goal. Contributions up and down the roster for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in gutting out this one.
The Toronto Argonauts 5-1 at home this season, but just one win on the road. That trend continues as they look to get back some bodies in the second half of this season, including Wynton McManus, their standout all-star linebacker. Bo Levi Mitchell makes his way around the field. Conversation with so many people who know him and his history around the Canadian Football League. But for him to be able to close this thing out and do it in fashion with that big throw down the left rail to Brendan O'Leary orange, quintessential Bo Levi. This time, it's in black and gold instead of red and white that he's done so many different times throughout his career. As we send it down to Kate and the panel to